Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to VUS Learning English Podcast. I am so happy you are here today. My name is Anna, and I will be your guide. If this is your first time here, a very big welcome to you. And if you are a returning listener, welcome back. It feels so good to have you with us again. This podcast is for you. It is for every English learner around the world. We make this show with love. We want to help you learn. We want to help you feel good. Today we have a very special story. It is a story about hope. It is a story about change. It is a story about a man who had nothing. But then he discovered one simple secret. And this secret changed his entire life. This story will show you that your life can change too. It will show you that a new beginning is always possible. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for giving your time to this moment. If you enjoy our time together, please think about tapping the like button. When you give a like, it helps our show grow. It helps other English learners find our community. It is a small click for you, but a very big help for us. Now, before we begin, I want to know where you are. Where are you listening from today? Are you in Ethiopia? Or India? Or maybe Thailand? Please tell me in the comments. I love to see where our friends are in the world. It makes me feel connected to you. Okay, are you ready? Let's find a quiet place. Let's take a slow, deep breath. Let's begin our story. What if I told you something amazing? What if the key to your future was a secret? And what if that secret was hidden? Hidden in the first hour of your day. Imagine everything you want in life. Maybe you want success. Maybe you want to feel strong and confident. Maybe you just want to feel peaceful in your heart. What if all those things were waiting for you? Waiting in the quiet moments of the morning, right after the sun begins to rise. It sounds too simple. It sounds like it cannot be true. But for one man, this simple idea was everything. It changed his whole world. This man had nothing. He had no money. He had no good future. He had no hope. Every day was hard. Every single day was a fight to live. His life was like a circle, a sad gray circle that never ended. He felt tired all the time. He felt deep sadness in his heart. He was stuck. He was living a life he did not want. He felt like he was watching other people live, but he was not living his own life. Until one day, he discovered one simple secret. This secret completely turned his life around. It made everything new, and it happened in just 90 days. What did he do? What did he do in those early hours? The hours when the rest of the world was still asleep. What he did might surprise you. It might even shock you. And his secret might be the answer for you. It might be the answer you have been looking for. Action 1. The problem. A life on mute. Let's talk about this man. His name was Thomas. But he did not feel like a person. He felt more like a ghost that no one could see. His world was very small. He lived in a tiny apartment. It was on the 3rd floor of an old building. The room had a sad smell. It smelled like wet clothes and old regrets. The paint on the walls was a tired color, like a gray sky with no sun. The paint was old and peeling. It came off the wall in long pieces. like skin that is hurt by the sun. There was one light in his room, a single light bulb with no cover. It hung from the ceiling by a wire. This light made long, dark shadows on the walls. The shadows looked like strange shapes. They danced on the wall. It felt like they were laughing at him. He did not have a real bed. He slept on a mattress on the floor. The mattress was old and thin. The springs inside were broken. They pushed into his back when he tried to sleep. That mattress was a reminder. It reminded him every night that he had failed. This was not a life. It was not living. He was just waiting for each day to end. During the day, he had a job. He worked in a very big store. He was a stock clerk. The store was a world of bright, cold lights. The lights flickered above him all day long. There was always the sound of beeping scanners. It was a job that made his heart feel empty. No one knew his name there. He was just a man in a blue shirt. His job was to put things on shelves. He arranged boxes and cans and bottles. People came to the store to buy these things. They did not think about the items, they just bought them. Some of these items were very expensive. One item could cost more than Thomas made in a whole day. This job gave him just enough money, just enough to pay for his small room, just enough to buy cheap instant noodles to eat, just enough for the cheap, bitter coffee he drank. That coffee was the only thing that kept him awake. But his day did not end there. The real struggle started when the sun went down. Thomas needed more money, so he had a second job, a job at night. He worked at a giant warehouse. The warehouse was at the edge of town. It was a big, dark, and lonely place. From midnight until the morning, he just moved boxes. That was his job. Move a box from here to there. The boxes were heavy. They were brown. They had no names on them, just endless, heavy boxes. He felt like a small part of a big machine, a machine he could not see. His muscles hurt. His arms and his back were always tired. His mind felt numb. It was empty from doing the same thing. Again and again and again. The only sounds were the hiss of a forklift machine and the low hum of the conveyor belts. Those sounds were the music of his sad life, the music of his slow collapse. He lived in a world that was never fully bright and never fully dark. It was always in between, like a dream you cannot wake up from. He was always so tired. He never got enough sleep. He would go home when the sun was rising. The city was waking up. People were starting their day. And Thomas was just ending his. He would fall into his mattress on the floor. He would sleep for a few hours. But the sleep was never deep. It was broken and light. Then his alarm clock would scream. It was a terrible sound. It was the signal that another day was starting, a day that was exactly the same as the day before. But the boxes were not the heaviest thing in his life. The lack of sleep was not the heaviest thing. The heaviest weight was his mother. His mother was sick. She was in a care facility. It was a place paid for by the government. It was in a town far away. Her mind was slowly fading. An illness was taking away the woman he knew. He remembered her as a happy woman, a woman who laughed and smiled. Now that woman was disappearing. The care facility was clean, but it was not warm. It did not feel like a home. It felt like a hospital, cold and sterile. Every time Thomas visited her, his heart hurt. It felt like a punch in his stomach. He would sit next to her bed, He would hold her thin, weak hand. He would look into her eyes. Sometimes he saw a small light in her eyes, a light that showed she knew him. But every visit, that light was a little weaker. It was fading more and more. He made a promise to her. He promised her he would help her. He said, "I will get you into a better place, Mom. A nice home with a garden. A place with sunshine and flowers." But when he said the words, they felt empty. They felt like a lie. Because a place like that costs a lot of money. The cost was like a huge mountain, a mountain so tall he could not even see the top. Every dollar he earned disappeared. It went to his rent. It went to his bills. It went to his cheap food. Every dollar was just another brick. A brick in the giant wall between him and his promise. Hope was a word he did not understand anymore. It felt like a beautiful, warm country, a country he could never visit. He did not have the money for the ticket. He used to have dreams. Long ago, he dreamed of a better life. But those dreams were gone now. They had dried up and disappeared. Now there was only one reality. The hard, cold reality of survival. Thomas was 28 years old. But he felt like an old man. He felt worn down to the bone. He was tired from a life that gave him nothing back. His life was on mute. The sound was turned off. He was just moving through the days with no joy, no music, and no hope. Section 2. The agitation, the echo chamber of failure. The problem was not just his sad apartment. It was not just his 2 hard jobs. The real problem was inside his mind. It was like a poison that had slowly dripped into his thoughts, into his feelings, into his soul. His life was like an echo chamber of failure. An echo chamber is a room where sound repeats. You say one word, hello, and the room says back to you, hello, hello, hello. His life was like that. He tried to do something good, and life echoed back, failure, failure, failure. He tried to find a better job. He applied for jobs in an office, anything that was not in a big store, anything that did not require a name tag. He had a resume. A resume is a paper that tells about your work. His resume was thin. It did not have many things on it. He sent this resume to many companies. He sent it through the internet. It felt like throwing a small paper into a big black hole. And what did he get back? Silence. Most of the time he heard nothing. No email, no phone call, just silence. And the silence felt like a message. The message was, you are not important. Sometimes he got a reply, an email, but it was worse than silence. It was a polite template rejection email. A template email is one that is sent to everyone. The words are always the same. The email said things like, "Thank you for your interest. While your qualifications are impressive, we have decided to move forward with other people." These polite words felt like little slaps on his face. They were gentle, but they hurt. All the words from all the emails blurred together. They became one loud message in his head. The message was, you are not good enough. You are not smart enough. You are not enough. Loneliness was his constant friend. It followed him everywhere, like a shadow that never leaves. He used to have friends, old friends from school, but they had all moved on with their lives. They had careers. They had good jobs. They had husbands and wives and children. They bought houses. They posted pictures on social media, pictures of their happy lives, pictures of their vacations to sunny places, pictures of their smiling children. Thomas would look at these pictures. He would scroll through them on his phone. His phone had a cracked screen. He would look at their lives, and a bitter, sad taste would fill his mouth. It was not exactly jealousy. It was something deeper. It was the feeling of being left behind. Far, far behind. He felt like he took a wrong turn on a road long ago. And now he was in a totally different place. A dark, lonely place. It was like he was watching a movie. A beautiful movie about a life he was supposed to have. But he was not in the movie. He was just sitting in the dark, watching it alone. The bad feelings were in the small things too, the daily moments of shame. One time he went to buy a sandwich for lunch. It cost $6. He used his debit card to pay. But the card was declined. There was not enough money in his account. He felt his face get hot with shame. He had to put the sandwich back. He left the store feeling small. So small. He started to walk with his head down. He did not look at people's eyes. He tried to make himself invisible. He tried to shrink. He wanted to disappear. There was a constant worry in his stomach. It felt like a knot, a tight, twisting knot of anxiety. He worried about the future. He worried about his mother. He worried that this was his life forever. He was so sure that nothing would ever change. This sad, gray life was it. This was all he would ever have. Then one day everything broke. It was a rainy Tuesday. Thomas was on his lunch break at the big store. A manager walked over to a bulletin board. The bulletin board was a place for messages. The manager pinned a piece of paper to the board. It was a certificate. It said, Team Member of the Month. There was a picture on the certificate. It was a picture of a young man named Kevin. Kevin was a teenager. He had only worked at the store for 3 months. He was smiling in the picture. Under the picture, there was a reason. Why was Kevin the team member of the month? The reason was for a consistently positive attitude. Thomas just stared at the certificate. He could not move. He could not breathe. He had been at that store for 3 years, 3 long years. He was never late. He always did his job. He worked hard. But he did not smile. He did not make small talk with the managers. He was quiet. He was tired. He was sad. In that moment, that certificate felt like a judgment, a final decision on his whole life. It told him he was not just failing to get a better life. He was failing to even be seen. He was invisible, a ghost in his own life. Something inside him snapped. He looked down at his lunch. He had not eaten it. He packed it up. He stood up. He walked out of the store. And he did not go back. He just quit. In that one moment, he felt a scary kind of freedom, but that feeling did not last long. Soon, panic came. A huge wave of panic. He had just destroyed his only little boat, his only source of money. The retail job was gone. That night, he went to his second job at the warehouse. Every box he lifted felt 10 times heavier. The weight of his future was pressing down on him. The future was a solid brick wall, and he was running toward it very fast. He had no job. He had no plan. He had no hope. He was at the very bottom. Section 3, the discovery, the hinge. And then, one morning, everything changed. It was not a big, loud event. It was not a winning lottery ticket. It was not a lightning strike from the sky. No, it was a quiet moment, an accidental moment, a moment that changed everything. It was a few days after he quit the store job. He was completely broken. He was full of fear. He was running on empty. He was on the bus. The bus was taking him home from the warehouse. It was very early in the morning. The sun was not up yet. The sky was still dark. The bus rumbled and shook. It drove through a nice part of town, a rich part of town. The houses were big. The streets were clean and quiet. The bus stopped. It stopped to let one person off. A man got off the bus. He was probably around 60 years old. He was wearing a suit, a very nice suit that fit him perfectly. He looked sharp. He looked awake and alert. He looked powerful. There was an energy around him, an aura of calm, purposeful energy. He knew where he was going. He knew what he was doing. The man stepped onto the quiet street. He took a deep breath of the cool morning air. A small smile was on his face. And then he started walking with purpose, with confidence. Thomas watched him from the bus window. He was fascinated. He was mesmerized. He looked at the clock on his phone. It was 5:15 in the morning. Who was this man? Where was he going at this hour? Why did he look so ready for the day? Thomas thought about himself. At 5:15 a.m., Thomas was ending his work. He was tired. He was broken. He felt defeated. But this man was starting his day. He was not beaten and broken. He was calm and powerful. The difference between them was huge. It hit Thomas like a punch, a physical blow. That image of the man stayed in his mind. It was like a small piece of wood in his finger, a splinter. He could not get it out. He could not ignore it. When Thomas got back to his sad gray apartment, he usually collapsed onto his mattress. He would fall into a tired, broken sleep. But not this morning. This morning, he did something different. He opened his old, cheap laptop. He connected to the internet. He opened a search bar. And he typed a simple question. What do successful people do in the morning? He pressed enter, and he fell down a rabbit hole. A rabbit hole is when you start looking for one thing and you find many, many other interesting things. You keep clicking, you keep reading for hours. He read about very successful people. He read about leaders of big companies. He read about artists and writers. He read about people who had changed the world. And he saw a pattern. He saw a connection. While Thomas was hitting the snooze button on his alarm and on his life, these people were doing something else. They were waking up early. They were using the morning. They were seizing the day. He learned about ideas he had never heard of before. He found a famous writer and teacher. This teacher talked about something called the 20-20-20 formula. The idea was simple. You take the first hour of your day, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., for example, and you divide it into 3 parts. 20 minutes for movement, like running or exercise. 20 minutes for reflection, like writing in a journal or thinking quietly. And 20 minutes for growth, like reading a book or learning something new. He discovered another idea from the same teacher. It was called the 90-91 rule. This idea was also simple but powerful. For 90 days, you spend the first 90 minutes of your work time on your number one most important goal, your single most important project. He kept reading. He started to read about science. He learned that when you see sunlight in the morning, your brain releases a chemical. This chemical is called cortisol. It helps you wake up. It helps you feel focused and alert. He read about a study. Smart people at a big university in Toronto did a study. They found that people who wake up early, morning people, are often happier. They report having more positive feelings in their life. For the first time in many years, Thomas felt something stir inside him. A little flicker, a tiny spark in the darkness. It was not hope. Not yet. It was smaller than hope. It was curiosity. He thought to himself, what if? What if this is the answer? What if this could work for me? This was not a magic pill. It was not about being lucky. It was not about being born rich. It was about a choice, a simple choice, but also a very difficult choice. A choice that you have to make every single day, again and again. Thomas looked around his tiny, dark apartment. He thought about his life. He thought about his mother. He thought about his dead-end jobs. He had nothing to lose. He was already at the very bottom. There was nowhere to go but up. So in that quiet, dark room, he made a decision, a powerful decision. He would try it. He would try it for 90 days, 3 full months, a full season of change. He took a piece of paper and a pen. He wrote a contract with himself. He wrote, for 90 days, I will wake up at 5 a.m. No excuses. No negotiation. He stuck the paper on his peeling wall. He looked at the words. This was not just a plan. It was a declaration of war. A war against the sad, tired, hopeless man he had become. The battle was about to begin. Part number 4. The 90-day journey, forging a new reality. The journey was divided into 3 parts. Let's talk about the first part. Phase 1, the destruction, days 1 to 21. That first morning was terrible. It was pure pain. The alarm on his phone went off at 5 a.m. The sound was loud and angry in the quiet room. Thomas's body felt like it was made of cement, heavy and impossible to move. His mind screamed at him. It gave him 1,000 reasons to quit. His mind said, this is crazy. Just 1 more hour of sleep. You can start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a better day to start. But he had read a trick online. The trick was to put your phone far away from your bed. He had put his phone across the room. So he had to get out of his mattress on the floor. He had to stand up and walk to turn off the alarm. He stood up. He felt sick. His head was hurting. He thought, this is the stupidest idea I have ever had. But he did not go back to bed. He had a plan, a system he created from his research. From 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. was his foundation hour. Foundation means the base of something, the strong part at the bottom. In this hour, he would learn a valuable skill, a skill that could get him a better job. He chose to learn accounting and Excel. Excel is a computer program for numbers and data. He found a free course on YouTube. From 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. was his victory hour. This hour was for his body and his mind. He based this hour on the 20-20-20 formula. The first morning was a complete disaster. He failed at everything. During the foundation hour, he sat in front of his laptop. He tried to watch the video about accounting. The narrator's voice was just a low, boring sound, a meaningless drone. The words went into his ears, but not into his brain. His eyes would not focus. They kept closing. His head kept falling down. He felt so sleepy. Then came the victory hour. His plan was to use the first 20 minutes to move. He planned to go for a walk outside. He put on his shoes and went out. But the air was cold. He felt so tired. After only 10 minutes, he turned back. He went back to his apartment feeling defeated. Next, he tried to use 20 minutes to reflect. He tried to write in a journal. He had a notebook and a pen. But his mind was empty and foggy. He only wrote one sentence. He wrote, "This is hard." Then he tried to use the last 20 minutes to grow, to read a book. He had a book about business, but he could not even read one full page. The words were just black marks on the paper. That first week was hell. It was a week of pure struggle. He was a zombie at his warehouse job. His body was screaming for sleep. He made mistakes with the boxes. He felt dizzy and slow. This was the destruction phase. Destruction means to break something down. In this phase, your old self fights back. It fights hard against the new person you are trying to be. Thomas was breaking down his old identity, his old habits, his old sad life. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. But he did not quit. He looked at the contract on his wall every morning. The paper with the words, "No excuses, no negotiation." He kept showing up. He kept getting out of bed at 5 a.m. Not because he felt good, not because he was motivated. He did it because he made a promise to himself. It was an act of pure willpower. Around day 10, something small changed. A tiny shift. He was watching his Excel course, and he finished a whole 45-minute lesson. He did it without falling asleep. It was a very small victory, but it was a victory, and it was his. On day 18, he sat down with his journal, and he wrote a whole paragraph. He wrote about how tired he was, but he also wrote that he was proud of himself for not quitting. Then, on the morning of day 21, something amazing happened. He woke up naturally. He woke up at 4:58 a.m., 2 minutes before his alarm. For a few seconds, his mind felt clear. The thick fog in his brain was a little thinner. That morning, he completed a whole section of his accounting course. He understood it. During his victory hour, he went for his walk. And for the first time, he actually saw the sunrise. He noticed the beautiful colors in the sky, the pinks and oranges and purples. It was still very, very hard, but it was not impossible anymore. The destruction phase was ending. A new phase was beginning. Phase 2, the installation, days 22 to 6. This next phase is called installation. To install something means to put it in place, like installing a new program on a computer. In this phase, the new habits started to become part of him. They started to take root in his life. The 5 a.m. alarm was still early, but it did not feel like an attack anymore. It did not feel like a punishment. It was just a signal to start his day. He started to improve his system. He made his morning hours even better. The foundation hour became a special, sacred time. He finished the first beginner's Excel course. He felt a surge of pride. He did not stop there. He immediately started an advanced course. He learned about difficult things with strange names like VLOOKUPs and macros. He learned about financial modeling. He was not just learning. He was building an arsenal. An arsenal is a collection of weapons. His new skills were his weapons to fight for a better life. His victory hour changed too. It evolved. The 20-minute walk became a jog. At first, he could only jog for 1 minute, then 2 minutes, then 5. He got stronger day by day. He was getting sunlight every morning, and he could feel the difference. He felt more awake during the day. He remembered the science he read, the healthy cortisol spike that helps with focus. The 20 minutes of reflection became his secret weapon. He would sit with his journal and a cup of coffee. He would plan his day. He did not just think about what he had to do. He thought about what he wanted to do. He wrote down his goals. He broke them down into small, actionable steps. He also practiced gratitude. Every morning, he wrote down 3 things he was thankful for. Sometimes it was simple. I am thankful for the hot coffee. I am thankful for the beautiful sunrise. I am thankful I did not quit yesterday. This small practice changed how he saw the world. The final 20 minutes were for reading. He read books about business, books about leadership, books about how to manage money. He was feeding his mind. And these changes in the morning, they started to bleed into the rest of his day. Like a drop of color in a glass of water, it spread everywhere. At his night job in the warehouse, his mind was sharper. He was more alert. He started to see things other people missed. He saw problems in how the warehouse worked. He saw ways to make things better, faster, and easier. Using his new Excel skills, he built a simple spreadsheet. This spreadsheet could track shipments. It was more accurate and faster than the official system the company used. He did not do it because someone asked him to. No one told him to do it. He did it for himself. He did it because his mind was now trained to see problems and to find solutions. He started eating better food. He wanted to protect the new energy he had. He stopped eating so many instant noodles. He started buying vegetables and fruits. He started sleeping better. Because he was exercising in the morning, his body was more tired at night. He fell asleep faster and slept more deeply. He was building a rhythm, a new, powerful rhythm for his life. He remembered reading about habits. He read that it takes time for a new action to become a habit. It is not a magic number of days. He read about a study from 2009. This study found it takes an average of 66 days. 66 days for a new behavior to feel automatic, to feel natural. But the study also said the time is different for everyone. For some people, it is 18 days. For others, it is more than 250 days. Thomas realized something important. This point, day 66, was not the end. It was not the finish line. It was just the end of the beginning. The installation was almost complete. Phase 3, the integration, days 67 to 90. This is the final phase of the 90-day journey. It is called integration. To integrate means to combine things. to make them part of one whole thing. Around day 66, something wonderful happened. He woke up at 5 a.m., and there was no fight. There was no resistance in his mind. None. His body woke up easily. His mind felt clear and ready. It felt natural. It felt normal. As natural as breathing. The habit was no longer something he did. It was a part of who he was. He did not need willpower anymore. It was automatic. He was a person who woke up at 5 a.m. That was his new identity. In this final phase, everything became faster. Everything accelerated. His skills in Excel and accounting were now very strong. He was not a beginner anymore. He was an expert. He could build complex financial spreadsheets from nothing. He started to use his foundation hour for more than just learning. He started to build. He started to create. He found a small local bakery in his neighborhood. He loved their bread. One day, he was talking to the owner, a kind old woman. She said her business was struggling. Her finances were a mess. She kept all her records in a messy paper book. Thomas saw a chance to help. He offered to organize her finances for free. He said he would build her a simple system in Excel. He just wanted the experience. The owner was so happy. She agreed. For the next 2 weeks, Thomas spent part of his foundation hour working at the bakery's books. He created a beautiful, simple system for her. When he showed it to the owner, she cried. They were tears of joy. She said, "You are an angel. You saved my business." In that moment, Thomas felt something new. He felt a sense of value. He felt useful. He had helped someone. He had created something good. He was not a ghost anymore. He was a person who could make a difference. Then came day 87, 3 days before the end of his 90-day promise. He was looking online. He saw a job advertisement. The job title was Junior Financial Analyst. It was at a logistics company, a company that moves boxes and products, just like his warehouse. A year ago, he would not have even clicked on that ad. He would have felt too scared. He would have thought, "I can't do that." But now he was different. He clicked the ad. He read the job description. He read the list of skills they wanted. And as he read the list, he smiled. They wanted someone who was an expert in Excel. They wanted someone who understood accounting principles. They wanted someone who could analyze data. He thought to himself, "I can do this. I can do all of this." These were the exact skills he had learned. He learned them in the quiet, dark mornings, in his little apartment, in his foundation hour. He decided to apply. He sat down to write his resume. This time, his resume was not a thin, sad piece of paper. It was not a desperate request for a job. It was a confident summary of his new skills. It was strong. It was impressive. Under the experience section, he did something clever. He added a new part called personal projects. In this section, he wrote about the financial system he built, the system for the little bakery. He explained how he helped the owner organize her business. He attached his new resume to the application. He clicked the send button. He did not send it with a prayer and a desperate hope. He sent it with a quiet feeling of expectation. He knew he was qualified. He knew he deserved a chance. The 90-day journey had changed him from the inside out. Part number 5, the transformation, the unveiling. A few days later, his phone rang. It was the logistics company. They wanted to see him. They called him for an interview. Thomas felt a mix of excitement and fear, but the excitement was stronger. He went out and bought a new suit. It was not expensive, but it fit him well. On the day of the interview, he looked in the mirror. He saw a new man. A man who stood up straight. A man whose eyes were clear and bright. He walked into the big office building. He was nervous, of course. But under the nervousness, there was something solid, something strong. It was a foundation of self-respect. He had built that foundation himself, one morning at a time, for almost 90 days. The interview was difficult. There were 2 managers in the room. They asked him hard questions, technical questions about accounting and finance. Then they gave him a test. They gave him a computer and a problem to solve. He had to use a spreadsheet to find a solution. The old Thomas would have frozen. He would have panicked. But the new Thomas was calm. He took a deep breath. He focused. He did not just give them the answers. He explained how he got the answers. He explained his thinking process step by step. He was clear. He was knowledgeable. He was confident. He was a completely different person. A world away from the man who used to look at the ground, the man who tried to be invisible. 2 days later, his phone rang again. It was the company. The manager said the words he had dreamed of hearing. "We would like to offer you the job." He got the job. He sat down on his mattress on the floor. He was in shock, a happy shock. The salary was more than double what he was making before, more than his 2 jobs combined. He could finally breathe. He went to the warehouse that night. He told his boss he was leaving. He gave his 2 weeks' notice. Walking home that morning felt like floating on a cloud. It was not just a new job. It was a new life. It was proof. Proof that the secret he discovered was real. It was not magic. It was a system. And the system worked. Now, let's fast forward. Let's go 1 year into the future. Where is Thomas now? Thomas does not live in the small, damp apartment anymore. He lives in a bright, clean 1-bedroom apartment. It has a small balcony. The balcony gets the beautiful morning sun. He is not a junior analyst anymore. At his new job, he worked very hard. He continued to use his sharp mind, the mind he trained every morning. He found ways for the company to save money. He found opportunities that no one else saw. After only 6 months, he got a promotion. He was promoted to financial analyst. But that is not the most important change. That is not the best part of the story. The most important change is this: his mother. His mother is in a new home, a beautiful private care home. It has a large green garden with many flowers. The sun shines into her room. Thomas visits her 3 times a week. He can afford to. He has the time and the money. The light in her eyes is stronger now. The flicker of recognition is brighter. On her good days, she knows him. She smiles a real smile when he tells her about his life. She holds his hand. He kept his promise. His transformation was total. It was complete. He was no longer a man living a life on mute. He was the composer of his own life. He was writing his own music. And it all started with one thing, a simple choice. The choice to wake up at 5 a.m., the choice to own his morning. Part number 6, The Secret Explained and the Challenge. So, what was the secret? What was the secret that Thomas discovered? It is not magic. It is not complicated. It is a simple framework, a simple system that you can repeat every day. The secret is about taking back control, taking control of the first hours of the day. These are the most important hours. They are the hours that are truly yours. Before the world gets busy, before other people need your time. Let's break it down into simple steps. First is the 5 a.m. decision. It all starts with a promise to yourself, a non-negotiable commitment. That means you cannot change your mind. The promise is to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. This is not about sleeping less, it is about shifting your sleep. If you wake up earlier, you must go to bed earlier. You must have a good evening routine, a calm, quiet routine to prepare for sleep. You should try to get 7 to 9 hours of good sleep. Sleep is very important. Second is the 2-hour block. Thomas created his own system for the first 2 hours, from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. He divided it into 2 parts. The first hour from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. was the foundation hour. This hour is for learning valuable skills. It is for building your assets. Assets are things that make you more valuable. For Thomas, this was learning accounting and Excel. For you, it could be something different. Maybe you want to learn coding or learn a new language like English, or learn how to speak in public without fear. This is your time to build the skills that can change your life. In this hour, Thomas used the 90-91 rule. He spent this focused time on his number 1 skill. The second hour, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., was the victory hour. This was Thomas's name for his second hour. This hour is for your mind, your body, and your soul. He used the 20-20-20 formula here. The first 20 minutes are to move. Do some exercise, something that makes you sweat. You can run or dance or do jumping jacks. When you move your body, your brain releases good chemicals. These chemicals make you feel happy. And if you can see the morning sunlight, that is even better. A smart doctor who studies the brain says this is very important. The sunlight helps to wake up your body and brain for the day. The next 20 minutes are to reflect. This is a quiet time. You can write in a journal, you can meditate, you can pray, you can just sit quietly and think. In this time, you can plan your day. Think about what you want to do. This calms your mind. It helps you start the day with peace and focus. The final 20 minutes are to grow. In this time, you read. Or you listen to a podcast. You learn from the smartest people in history. You expand your mind and your world. So that is the system. The foundation hour to build skills, and the victory hour to take care of you. The third part is to embrace the science. This is not just a nice idea. There is real science behind it. Waking up early and getting sunlight helps your body's clock. It tells your body when to be awake and when to be sleepy. People who wake up early are often more proactive. They take action. And this is connected to feeling happier with life. And the process of building a new habit is predictable. It will be hard at the beginning. You will feel that wall of resistance. Your old self will fight back. But if you know this, you can be ready. You can push through the hard part, and then the magic happens. The habit becomes easy. Now, I have a challenge for you. I am not asking you to do this for 90 days, not yet. I am asking for just 7 days, 1 week. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to wake up 1 hour earlier than you usually do, just 1 hour. Use 30 minutes for your foundation. Learn one new thing for 30 minutes. And use 30 minutes for your victory. 15 minutes of movement and 15 minutes of reflection or reading. You can do anything for 7 days. It is a small step, but it can be the first step to a new life. And now I have a call to action for you, something I want you to do right now. If you are ready to stop watching your life and start living your life, I want you to do 2 things. First, please hit that like button. Let that small click be your promise. A promise to yourself that you will try this 7-day challenge. It is your digital handshake with a new future. Second, go to the comments section right now. And I want you to tell me one thing. What is the number 1 skill you would focus on? What would you learn in your foundation hour? Writing it down makes it real. It makes it a real goal. I want to read your goals. I want to cheer for you. And finally, if you know someone who feels stuck, if you know someone who feels lost and hopeless, please share this episode with them. It might be the story they need to hear. And please subscribe to our channel so you can get more content to help you build a life you love, a life of purpose and success. The story of Thomas is not a fairy tale. It is not a magical story about princes and castles. It is a story about a powerful truth. And the truth is this: the person you are today is not the person you have to be tomorrow. You can change. Real change does not happen in one big jump. It does not come from one giant leap. Real, lasting change comes from small actions. Small, consistent, disciplined actions. Actions that you repeat every day. The first hour of your day is like the rudder of a ship. A rudder is a small part, but it steers the whole ship. Your first hour steers your whole day. And your days steer your whole life. You can let that first hour be controlled by the snooze button, by chance, by sleepiness, or you can seize it. You can take control of it. You can own it. You can use that golden hour, that precious hour, to build yourself into the person you want to become. Skill by skill, day by day, morning by morning. Your future is not written in stone. It is not fixed. It is written in the choices you make. Especially the choices you make every single morning. Tomorrow morning, your alarm will ring and you will have a choice. Will you answer the call? Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this story has inspired you. Remember, learning a new language is like building a new life. It takes time. It takes small, consistent actions every day. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. You are doing a great job. Keep going. Don't give up. Thank you again for being here with me. It means so much. Please remember to leave a comment. Tell me what skill you want to learn. I am excited to read your answers. Until we meet again, take care. See you next time, my friend.